Self-discovery on the way. Reflect, reset, be your best. Join the quiz, it's not a test. Feel the light, embrace the dawn. Empowerment, it's going strong. Daily lesson quiz, hooray! What did we learn today? Join the fun, let's all play. Reflect, reset, rise today. Morning gods, we shine so bright. Wisdom flowing, pure insight. Tours through God's words, they lift us high. New beginnings reach the sky. Every moment, take it in. Start anew, let's begin. From the dawn to the night, together we ignite. Daily lesson quiz, hooray! What did we learn today? Join the fun, let's all play. Reflect, reset, rise today.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to First Light Reflections, your weekday guide to self-discovery and empowerment, where each sunrise brings you and I a new chance to reset, reflect, and create the best version of ourselves. How is everyone doing? Michelle, how are you? I hope everything went well on yesterday. Good morning, saying good morning, good morning. And family, before we dive in, remember, as we enter this time of reflection, let us yield our hearts to the Lord. Why? Because seeking his kingdom and his purpose above all else, that is what transforms us. So let us take a moment to do things decent in order, as we have a lot of ground to cover this morning. All right. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for bringing us together at this time. You brought us through the week, through things seen and through things unseen, and we just can't thank you enough. Lord, as we come together to study in your word, continue in Proverbs, we ask that you tabernacle with us, and may you be glorified in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen, family. Let us not delay, because like I said, we have a lot of ground to cover this morning. So no matter where you're tuning in from, whether you're live in the chat, catching the replay, or scrolling through on YouTube, maybe out in the foyer with my number one usher, Florence, who will take good care of you, or on Facebook, I am thrilled that you're here. This isn't just a broadcast. This is your space where we come together as a family, as a community, to reflect, to grow, and connect. So grab your coffee, tea, water, whatever your libation may be, and settle in and let us shine together. Michelle says, everything went well, healing nicely. April 10th, the last appointment. All right, I will get that on my calendar. Let me put that in my cone of remembrance. Yeah, I am. April 10th. Got it. So I can put it on my calendar. Let's see. All right. I will add it to my calendar after the broadcast. God be praised, family. This morning, as we look at verse 31. Yep. Yesterday we had only one verse. Today we have only one verse. I mean, they're powerful enough that they stand on their own. Looking at, is doing good worth it? That's our topic that we're looking at this morning. Have you ever felt like doing the right thing, that it just doesn't pay off? Have you ever felt that way? You've been honest when lying would have been easier. You've been faithful when quitting, it really felt justified. You've chosen integrity over shortcuts, but instead of being rewarded, it feels like you're losing. Has anybody ever been in that position? And meanwhile, the people who lie, cheat, and just do whatever it takes to get ahead, it seems like they're winning. And I get it. The frustration is real. But guess what, family? Let's look at the truth. God's reward system isn't on human time. God's reward system is not on our time. And by no means. Our devotional text this morning, Proverbs chapter 11, verse 31, is making it very clear that God repays both the righteous and the wicked. Michelle says, yes, I can relate. Yep, and I will put my hands up in there as well. You look around and you're, man, what is... all they do is wrong. They continue to seem like They're just getting away with everything. But the fact that our devotional text shows us that God repays both the wicked and the righteous, this means two things for us. One, your righteousness is accumulating a reward that you don't even see yet. The next thing, nobody gets away with anything. Trust and believe that justice is coming. So if you've been asking, is doing the right thing even worth it? Guess what? This devotional lesson is for you. Our question of the day: have you ever felt like doing good didn't pay off? But what kept you from giving up? What was it? You didn't give up. You're still hanging in there. What was it that kept you from giving up? If you ever felt like doing good just didn't pay off, drop your thoughts in the comments, family. What was it that made you hold on and hang in there, not throw in the towel, even though you felt like, man, I don't even know why this is worth it. Why do I keep trying? Everyone else is getting ahead. I'm not getting ahead. I'm constantly having problems. I don't know if this is going to pay off. Is this, what is it that made you hold on? Because today we're breaking down verse 31, Proverbs chapter 11. It's one verse, but it carries a massive promise behind it. It's about justice. It's about rewards. It's about why living right is never in vain. So, if you've been feeling overlooked, discouraged, or even tempted to compromise, guess what? This passage, this promise, this is your answer. Let's get into it. Verse 31. If the righteous will be recompensed on the earth, how much more the ungodly and the sinner? Michelle says, because God was the only one there for me during my most difficult times, so she did not give up. Good morning, Nikki. Amen, Michelle. We know even through the frustration, the Spirit is with us. The Spirit is guiding us. And we're saying, I'm not giving up. No matter what. No matter how things may appear around us. Because verse 31, this powerful passage that stands alone. If the righteous will be recompensed on the earth, how much more the ungodly and the sinner? Let's break this down. If the righteous will be recompensed on the earth. Now, what does recompense mean, fam? What does that word mean, fam? So we can make sure we're all on the same page. You're like, recomp who? We have to get full understanding. We can't just read through things. Sometimes it takes me forever to read through a book. Because if I don't understand the words, I'm not just going to keep reading. I have to go look them up, then put in a word that I can understand, and then read it through. So it may take me a while. There's a book that I started reading because, I read 3 or 4 at a time. But there's a book that I started reading about 3 months ago. Man, and there's some words in it, man. I'm telling you, I'm just about to make it to chapter 2. Just about to make it. Because I have to understand what I'm reading before I move on. So what does this word mean? Recompensed. Good morning, Florence. Good morning. Good morning. Wonderful job on yesterday. Wonderful job. I'm telling you, man, I was like, look at Florence. Look at Florence leading, boy. Telling you, I was grinning from ear to ear. Saying says, make amends. If the righteous will be recompensed on the earth, repaid, rewarded, compensated. If the righteous will be rewarded on this earth, if the righteous will be repaid, if the righteous will be compensated on the earth, how much more the ungodly and the sinner? There we go. Compensation. If the righteous will be compensated on the earth, that's how we can fill it in. God is saying, even on this side of eternity, righteousness brings a return. So how much more the ungodly and the sinner? So if God ensures the righteous are rewarded, then justice will come for the wicked as well. That's what it's telling us. No one gets away with anything. Now, we may think, as my grandma said, you may think you're slicker than oil, but this is telling us that no one will get away with anything. I am with you on making sure I understand what those words mean in the context that they are being given to me or I am reading them. I have to understand. Because if you just glaze over the word and you don't have the full context, how can you truly understand what it is that you're reading or what you're watching? Even if I'm watching something, online, and they say a word, hold on, I gotta hit pause. Hold on, let me look this up because I gotta understand where they're going. Because they've just used a 15-letter word that may change the whole context of this, and I may no longer agree with this. So we have to understand. Thank you, my friend, for being there to support, of course, asking great questions and praying for me the entire time. I was, Florence. I was. Even though I was still grinning from ear to ear. I said, man, I'm so encouraged to know Florence Donald. I am. Family, just remember, no one gets away with anything. This verse, this one simple verse in our devotional text this morning, it should remove all doubt that your actions matter. If there's any doubt, do my actions matter? Does it matter if I continue to do the right thing? This verse should remove all doubt, worry, anxiety, fear. And it should prove that your actions do matter. Every moment of faithfulness, guess what? It's counted. Every sacrifice that you made to do the right thing, guess what? It's counted. Every time you choose righteousness when compromise seemed easier, guess what? It's counted. And here's the flip side of this. Unrighteousness is counted too. Now let's be real. Doing the right thing doesn't always feel rewarding, right? We've admitted to that. It just doesn't sometimes. Sometimes you feel like just a slap in the face. You show up, you stay faithful, you make sacrifices, but sometimes it feels like it's all for nothing. People cutting corners seem to get ahead. The ones compromising their integrity, man, they seem to have the easy road, don't they? Just from looking from the outside in, it seems like everything is gravy. Meanwhile, we're out here trying to honor God, and it feels like that we're moving in slow motion when all the rest of the world is just zooming ahead to success, being untouched. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to realize. Every act of righteousness is building on something, is shifting things in the unseen, moving obstacles that you don't even know exist. And just because you don't see the fruit right away, it doesn't mean that the seed isn't growing. And the problem isn't that doing good doesn't work. It's that we have been conditioned to expect instant gratification. Well, guess what? God doesn't operate on our timelines, not by any means. And when we choose to live righteously, we're depositing into something far bigger than a quick win. Now think about it. Would you rather gain fast and lose faster or build something that's unshakable? Which do you choose? Every right choice, look at it like this. Every right choice that you make, every righteous choice, every good choice, every good deed is a brick in a foundation that can't be stolen, can't be manipulated, and won't crumble when the pressure hits, when the storms arise. And here's what most people don't consider. Sin adds up too. Yes, it does. Just like righteousness builds, so does unrighteousness. That's it. That microwave culture. I want it now. I received a call yesterday. Hey, this is so-and-so. Sam can testify to this. This is so-and-so, and I'm calling. I need this. Well, you know what? I called. They didn't pick up. Yeah. Well, I sent an email and she hasn't answered. Well, when did you send it? Well, just a few moments ago. Do you think I should wait a couple of hours? Ma'am. Miss Ma'am. Ooh, wee. Instant gratification. I want it now. Microwave culture. Don't go through the drive-through and, and they say, I'm going to need you to pull up to the next window. Man, it's nervous breakdown mode because you expected it. Actually, by the time you pull off from that speaker, you expect that when you come around that corner, they're already going to have the bag out the window just ready to tell you to have a nice day. You have to wait more than 30 seconds. You almost want to tell them, look, just debit my card back and give me my stuff back. You were supposed to have this already in my car after I ordered at the speaker. Instacart. Where is Instacart? Now, I put that order in 15 minutes ago. Why is Instacart not at my door? Where in the world is Uber Eats? I placed that order 5 minutes ago. What is taking them so long? Man, who to the we? You know, family, every compromise, every excuse, it, you know, it's not that deep, right? Every excuse that we use, excuses like, no, it's not that deep. You know, we have those type of moments. Man, please make that make sense. You should what? Right? We have to wait. The audacity. I have to wait. You want me to wait? You want me to use my time? Patience. What's patience? Family, just know that every compromise is stacking up and is shaping your life in ways that you might not recognize until it's too late. Now, here's the real test. Will you choose to still do good, even when there's no applause? There's no award, there's no Oscar. And tonight's big winner is Michelle Henderson. And our next winner, Sandra Tringfield. Will you still do good when there's no applause? Will you continue? Will you keep planting when the ground looks dry as a bone, as if nothing is growing? Because here's the truth. Your kindness is breaking chains that you don't even know exist. Your integrity is shutting down generational curses, choices, shutting them down. Your obedience is shifting atmospheres, moving things. So family, don't get discouraged. Continue to build. Did Noah stop building? What did they do to Noah? Did they throw a party and a celebration? Were there any Oscars for him? Were there? Was anybody out there saying, you know what, man, you've been working on this a while. Let us get you a warm. Would you like a cold beer? Would you like some lemonade? Would you like some mango tea? Hold up, man, somebody get Noah. Did anybody check to see if Noah had any lunch? He's been out here building this thing all day. But did he stop building? And even after building, how many made it on? How many said, you know what? We probably better get on there. I don't think this is such a good idea to stay out here on this side. We probably should go in. What y'all think? They said to themselves, and they said, should we go inside there? All them animals, and we don't know what's going to happen. Should we go in there with that man? And they said, you better. How many? How many? Right? Helped them. And still didn't get in. How many out of all of those people? You have to think this wasn't just a little small village community. This was a whole world of people. Mercy. How many went inside those doors, you know? And after they went in, God said, you know what? I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to close this door to make sure all of those that wanted to stay out here on the wrong side of in the unrighteousness, I'm going to close the door with my own hand. And it's not going to open until I'm ready for it to open. So family, as Noah didn't get discouraged. Now he may got a little frustrated, like, man, I'm sick of these people. I'm quite sure he was human. Man, I'm so tired of them. out here acting crazy, carrying on all this ruckus, always making fun of me. Boy, can you see him? He's probably hitting a hammer, whatever he had. Like, man, I'm tired of these people. People's crazy. I'm out here sweating, trying to build this to save them. The Lord done gave me these instructions. But he kept building. Don't get discouraged. Good morning, Marie. Keep building. Keep planting. Because what you're constructing today is the future you'll have to live in tomorrow. One by one, two by two. The doors are open. Will you come in before they close? Keep planting. If you've ever felt like doing the right thing doesn't matter, like your obedience is overlooked, your kindness unappreciated, and your integrity costing you more than it's giving you, guess what? You're not alone. But let's reframe that. That inner whisper saying, what's the point? That's not your intuition. That's interference. Strategic, calculated, demonic interference. Remember, we're not fighting against flesh. Now, we get upset when we're dealing face to face with flesh, the things that are coming out of the mouths of flesh, the harm that's done by those in flesh. But we have to remember what we're fighting against. Strategic, calculated, demonic forces. And Satan isn't trying to destroy you with something that's obvious. He uses the slow drip of doubt. He wants to quietly rewire your thinking. He says, guess what? Nobody sees your effort, Florence, so why bother? He says, you know what, Nikki? If you just took a little shortcut, life would be a whole lot easier. Things would ease up on you. He says, saying, why keep sacrificing when the wicked seem to be winning? Why do you continue doing this? But here's the truth. That's not wisdom, family. You know what it is? That's warfare. There's a true connection when we build, seeing and hearing a friend tell her friend, what I helped my friend with brought joy to my heart. No need for names, because it's all God. There we go. Come on, Michelle. Testify this morning. That's the joy. That's the joy that brings a peace that surpasses all understanding that we can't explain to others. It even baffles us like, man, I can't explain. All I can tell you is you got to try this for yourself. Because we understand. We understand that this is warfare. And if we don't catch it, we will start making emotional decisions that are based on temporary circumstances. But we're not here for temporary. We are here to outlive our impact. That's why we're stepping into this next part. When Satan whispers, doing good doesn't matter. He's not just throwing shade. He's planting mental landmines, family. Because if he can get you to question the value of righteousness, he can get you to settle for counterfeit success just as easily. And that's why this isn't just a thought battle. This is spiritual warfare in disguise. But here's what the enemy didn't account for. He didn't account for you waking up. He didn't account for you catching on to the lie. He didn't account for you choosing to reframe the narrative and walk in God's truth. And now that you see it for what it is, it's time to respond. And this next part is where you equip your mind and spirit to fight back. Because we've exposed the subtle tactics. Now it's time to arm yourself with strategy, wisdom, and intentional action. We know the tactics. Because once you recognize the lie, you can't just walk away from it. You have to replace it with truth. You see the lie, now it's time to confront it in prayer. 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. It's also known as the Watch of Justice and Breakthrough. And if you want to go deeper and learn more about the prayer watches, the full ebook, the link is in the description. Right? You've seen what the enemy's been whispering. He says, well, you know what? Living right doesn't even matter. Nobody sees your faithfulness. right? These are things that go through our head. You know what? You could take that shortcut. You can still be blessed. Blessed by who? By whom? But now, if you know better, and once the lie is exposed, it's not enough to simply ignore it. You confront it in the spirit. You take it to the place where strongholds break. Where is that place? Prayer. And this isn't just any prayer watch. This is the one where injustice meets the throne of heaven. Where the weary come for strength, the overlooked are reminded that they're seen, and the obedient receive fresh wind to keep going. Remember earlier in the week when we went through the lesson, remember it talked about inheriting the wind. This is your time to press in, family, and ask God for clarity to see past the noise and be able to hear the truth. Listening for that still small voice in whatever form it speaks to you in. To see past the noise and hear the truth. Encouragement to stay faithful when everything in you says, I'm quitting, I'm done, I've tried, I can't do this, I'm out. Justice. To trust God is still rewarding righteousness, even when the world doesn't. Pray intentionally. God, remind me that my faithfulness is never wasted. Strengthen me to walk in righteousness even when it's hard. Let me see the rewards of righteousness living in my life. Of righteous living in my life. Let me see those rewards of righteous living in my life. Pray intentionally. This is where the shift happens. This is where you break agreement with discouragement and you pick up your spiritual assignment and say, I'm ready to carry on. Remember in Pilgrim's Progress, he'd get a little delayed. He'd get a little pulled off track, but he would get right back on the path and continue on his spiritual assignment. Remember this, family. For those that have seen that movie, this is where you get your mind back, your joy back. You know, that joy that Michelle just, talked about. She said it brought joy to my heart. Right? This is where you get your confidence in God's justice back. There is nothing that no one can do or say to convince you otherwise. Because you were never called to live confused, passive, or silent. You were called to move with purpose and to also plant with eternity in mind. And now, guess what? Now that you've prayed, now it's time to act. Put it in the chat, family. Put it in the chat and claim it. Put in it's either worth it or put it in the 100% symbol if you're standing on this truth. If you're following it this morning. If it's making sense. If I've made it make sense. Our devotional text. Let's encourage each other this morning. That we know that no matter how it looks, we're going to continue to do good. We won't be swayed. We won't be moved. What's the song say? Thou shalt not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. I shall not be moved. Positive changes are those that conform to God's standard of goodness, righteousness, and his plan to renew and reward all things. That's kingdom impact. Come on, Nikki. You've been over here I think Nikki came over here in my notes and stuff yesterday. It's worth it. 100%. Charlotte says 100. 100. You've asked the question, is doing good, is it even worth it? Now it's time, as Nikki says here. Kingdom impact, to renew. It's time to shift your mindset. Shift your mindset and prove to yourself that it absolutely is. Live and move with purpose and intention. Everything should be intentional with kingdom impact in mind. That should be the driving force in every single thing. Do you know, Florence, as we were watching the last, what was that, 11 times 3, 33? 33 hours, 33 plus, that Alec put together. Every bit of that. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Now I can use that for study. Wait a minute. I can use that in my lesson. Everything, every single one of those speakers that came up. It's like, man, that's good stuff right there for the kingdom. That was my leading thought through. I mean, the excitement. So it's time to shift our mind, family, and prove to ourselves that it absolutely is 100% without a doubt worth it. Because here's the reality. Our brain and our spirit need evidence. And if you don't train yourself to recognize God's rewards, guess what? Your mind will default to focusing on what's missing, who's winning faster, and why righteousness feels so hard. So you have to flip that script and identify a past reward. Think back. When has doing the right thing actually paid off? Think back. Identify a past reward. That's why journaling is so important. Because the mind can so easily beset us, along with the flesh. So if we're able to go back and flip through, if I could reach my Bible over here, I've shown you before how I have it tabbed with different colors, different markings. In some portions, there's a T and there's a P beside some of those verses that are tabbed, tried and proven. And it brings to remembrance. Yep, he did come through. You know what? I'm not going to. So because he came through that I'm not even going to. I'm going to go, yep, you're right. I'm going to go ahead and go about my business. I'm going to carry on with my work and let him handle his. My Bible as well, tabs here. Put those reminders so that you can easily recall them and go back to them. Maybe put a little sticker or whatever it is that's going to trigger that memory of how he came through in the past and the reward. Maybe it was a door that God opened or peace that you received, a situation that worked out, or a lesson that saved you from disaster. Whatever it is, identify that past reward. See, our brain naturally remembers pain more than progress. Natural. That's why the enemy magnifies your struggles, but minimizes the wins. Rewire that pattern. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Remind yourself that righteousness has rewarded you before. And guess what? It will again. Put it in the chat, family. I've seen God's rewards before, or give me a hands up if you can recall in the blink of an eye a time when God showed up. Man, I know I have all sorts going through my head right now. It's like a Rolodex. Bloop, 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 bloop. If you can recall a time when God showed up, when even the people around could say, now that was nobody but God. If you've seen those rewards and you recall those moments when he showed up, the next thing, commit to consistency. You're like, you want me to do what? Nikki says, oh, yes. Sam says, I've seen God's rewards. Man, and I've watched you see those rewards as well. Commit to consistency. See, that's the thing. We want rewards. We want things to move. But are we consistent? Righteousness is about endurance. Plain and simple. Keep walking it out, even when it's unnoticed, even when it feels like you're losing, even when shortcuts look easier. God is good all the time. And all the time, as they say, God is good. I've seen God's rewards. Keep walking, family. Keep going, even when it's unnoticed. Because consistency beats convenience every single time. Every time. The enemy wants you to quit right before the breakthrough. He comes in and whispers, it's not working. Just let go. Just ease up a little. It'll be okay. But those who refuse to compromise are the ones who will see the full weight of God's reward, as our devotional text led us through and laid out for us. The righteous will be recompensed on earth. Every step in obedience is a deposit. Every act of faithfulness, family, trust me, it is accumulating interest. If you're staying faithful, put it in the chat or give me a celebration hat. If you refuse to quit before your breakthrough, if there's nothing no one can do or say to convince you otherwise, to move you from remaining steadfast and staying on post, pray during the third watch, 12 a.m., 3 a.m. This is where you get your endurance back, family. This is where you build it. Ask God to give you the strength to keep going and the patience to wait on his justice so that you can remain consistent. Family, this isn't about if God will reward you. It's about when. But can you handle the waiting room? Can you handle the waiting room? That's a big question. So if you're like, well, I don't know if that's the big part. I don't know, coach. Now that you might have threw a boomerang in there. This is where we need to work on. Start reframing and training your mind to handle the waiting room. David comes in and says, yeah, I can handle it. Can you stay faithful when the process feels slow? When it's not in microwave mode, as Florence said earlier, that microwave culture. Can you stay faithful when the process feels slow? It's all God. Yes, patience is golden. Because the difference between delay and denial. Can anyone tell me what it is? What is the difference between delay and denial? What makes the difference? Let me give you a hint. The word starts with an E. I just said it a few minutes ago. The difference between delay and denial, I'll give it a few seconds to see if anyone puts it in, is one thing, and it starts with an E. Gave y'all. Anyone remember that word that I just said? It starts with an E. I'll wait. David greeting Charlotte. Sometimes David gonna put an E. What's the word? What's the difference between delay and denial? What makes the difference in being able to handle those two and understand and to carry on? I know y'all know. Come on now. Man. Saying like, let me see if I can rewind back to see what she said. Michelle says encouragement. Let's see. Expectation. Man, Jessica. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. That's the word I'm looking for. The difference to those that understand the difference between delay and denial. and being able to handle and process it is simply endurance. Look at David to my expectation. Man, y'all tell David what expectation is the breeding ground for. Expectation is the breeding ground for. Go ahead and let David know. Whisper over to him and say, David, expectation is the breeding ground for. What is it? Now that word starts with a D. You ever been in a conversation with someone, they were like, well, I expected you to say, I expected you to do. Well, you know what? That's the breeding ground for disappointment, especially for those that are not able to have tough conversations, to have grown folks conversations. Not even a lot of grown folks can have those type of conversations, but they say I'm grown, but still can't have an adult conversation. Expectation builds resentment and disappointment. I'm telling you, I have 2 PhDs, probably have done it, probably had it done to me. I'm here to tell you. The world rewards speed, family. But if we have that understanding that God rewards stamina, that will help to build our endurance. Commit to praying in this window. Ask God to align your heart with His timing and to give you the strength to keep building, keep hammering away. Just like as we discussed earlier, just the same way that Noah did. Continue to build. Even when they mock, even when they laugh, even when they come help you for a little while. And then they say, you know what? I don't know. Continue to build. Put that hourglass in there. I trust God's timing. If you're going to stand firm in His reward. We're bringing it home. Verse 31 of our devotional text this morning in Proverbs chapter 11. Making sure that all hearts and minds are clear as we finish out this chapter. I trust God's timing. We should all have a better understanding of God's timing just from this one verse. Verse 31 this morning. Jessica, no need to be. No need to be. That's right, David. It's all good. It is all good. Saying says, I'm putting double. I trust it doubly. I'm definitely trust God's timing, says Charlotte. Trusting God's timing no matter what. Wasn't it, Michelle? Chapter 11 was so enlightening. I trust God's timing. Whoever thunk it? Who'd have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? Have you ever spent time in Proverbs this way? Now, every time, just think when we make it to the end, man, some serious wisdom that we've built up here. But just this far, with where we've made it. In chapter 11, going into chapter 12 next week, God willing. Have you ever looked at Proverbs in this light? And now when you look back from chapters 1 through 12, 1 through 11, be like, wow. Man, y'all are scholars. Scholars. Family, your obedience is never wasted. Never wasted. You know, we made it to the end of our devotional message, but just know this isn't the end of your story. What do we constantly say? Grab a pen and start rewriting. Don't grab a pencil, because God doesn't make mistakes. Grab a pen and rewrite confidently, knowing that God doesn't make mistakes. Reframe your mind. Start rewriting your story, because this isn't the end. You've been lied to long enough, told that your obedience doesn't matter. You've been told that integrity is optional, that righteousness is a lonely losing game. But guess what? Now you know better. How do we know? What does it say in the rule book? Facts. What does it say? What does it say? Right there in the rule book. And once you know the truth, guess what? Guess what, Michael Flemings? You can't unknow it. Once you know the truth, you can't unknow it. Have you ever seen some things and you're like, man, I can never unsee that? And as much as you try and unsee it, it's still every now and then flashes and like, Once you know the truth, you can't unknow it. So here's the shift. You don't walk away from this just feeling better. You walk away changed, rewired, recommitted, and reignited. Because doing good is worth it. Even when no one claps, when there's no trophies, when there's no awards, when there's no big celebration, when there's no big posts about what you've done across social media. Even when it costs you. Even when the reward feels delayed. Why? Because God saw every unseen sacrifice. God saw those sacrifices everybody else decided to turn a blind eye to. God saw those sacrifices that other people took credit for and didn't even acknowledge you. Guess what? Your harvest is on heaven's calendar, not man's. Because your consistency is disrupting generational choices. Because every act of obedience is making hell real nervous, but heaven is rejoicing. You are not weak for choosing righteousness, but you are dangerous to the enemy. You're not wasting time. You are building legacy. As we started out the week talking about integrity, you're building something that's going to last far beyond that. You are not overlooked. You are positioned for a divine reward. So guess what? Lift your head, stand tall, and keep walking. And allow this truth to ring loud in your spirit. God sees, and he never forgets faithfulness. So the next time doubt creeps in, just simply go back through our practical steps and remind yourself, I don't do good for applause. I do it because I trust God's reward. I trust God's reward. Put it on a Post-it note if you have to. Type it out. Speak it out. Live it out. Doing good is worth it, family. Plain and simple. And as they say, period. Full stop. All right? Now let's jump into this quiz. Let's go.
In the morning, light so bright, it's the first light reflections quiz time. Toronado leading the way with God's wisdom. Let's start the quiz and seize the day.
Let's go.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. True or false? God's justice is only seen after death, not on earth. What say you, fam? God's justice is only seen after death, not on earth. Is this true or is this false? What say you? Charlotte slam dunked it in and said false. Michelle was like, I agree with you. That is indeed false. All right. What does recompense mean in our devotional text? Was it ignored, rewarded or repaid, punished or delayed? 1, 2, 3, or 4. What was the meaning of recompense in our devotional text? Ignored, rewarded, punished or delayed. Oh, okay. I see y'all. That's what I'm talking about. That's it. Rewarded or repaid. Come on now, fam. If the righteous will be judged, recompensed, ignored, praised, how much more the sinner? Fill it in. If the righteous will be judged, recompensed, ignored, praised, how much more the sinner? Are you going with A, B, C, or D? What go you with this morning?
Something is wrong here.
Did giveaway. Come on, Charles. Let's see. Charlotte said, I'm going to put this A. Nikki said, I'm going to go with B. Good choice. If the righteous will be recompensed, how much more the sinner? There we go. Our full, that was actually our whole devotional text. If the righteous will be recompensed. Micah said D. True or false, family? Wickedness will ultimately go unpunished. Is this true or is this false? Wickedness will ultimately go unpunished. True or false? What say you? Wickedness will ultimately go unpunished. Going with false? Let's see. That is indeed false. We made that abundantly clear this morning. What is one of Satan's tactics to discourage righteousness? Convincing you that doing good doesn't matter. Encouraging patience and faith. Reminding you of your past rewards, or teaching you about eternal justice. Matter of fact, that's our lesson tonight. What is one of Satan's tactics to discourage righteousness? 1, 2, 3, or 4. What say you? Let's see. Do the ones have it this morning? Yes, indeed. Convincing you that doing good doesn't matter. There we go. All right, fill it in. Your righteousness today is building your what? Wealth, reputation, reward, or comfort tomorrow. Your righteousness today is building your wealth, reputation, reward, or comfort for tomorrow. Which one? In light of our lesson, I should have put that. In light of our lesson, our devotional text, your righteousness today is building your wealth, reputation, reward, or comfort. Nikki says, see? Charlotte and Michelle in agreement with you, Nikki. They say, yep, we're going to put that too. That is it. Your righteousness today is building your reward for tomorrow. True or false? God is unaware of the sacrifices that we make for him. He has no clue. Is this true or is this false? God is unaware. He has no idea of the sacrifices. I think sometimes we do put God in that category that we put humans in. They have no idea what I'm going through over here. I'm over here stressed out, toiling. And we tend to forget. And we just put God right in that category. That is false. God is full aware of every sacrifice, seen and unseen, all things. What is the main message of our devotional text this morning? Righteousness guarantees wealth. Everyone will be rewarded for their choices. The wicked will escape punishment, or faithfulness is temporary. 1, 2, 3, or 4. What was the main message of our devotional text in Proverbs chapter 11, verse 31? 1, righteousness guarantees wealth. Everyone get a reward. You get a reward. You get a reward. The wicked will escape punishment. Our faithfulness is temporary. Charlotte said, I think probably should go with 2. Let's see. Everyone will be rewarded for their choices. Every man. Every man. No, the scripture says, and he comes with a reward in his hand for everyone. What will that reward be? Do not grow weary in doing good, for in due season you shall what? Suffer, reap, regret, or rest. I know you know this passage. Fill it in. Do not grow weary in doing good, for in due season you shall suffer, reap, regret, or rest. A, B, C, or D. You didn't even have to study that one. You know that one. There we go. There we go. That's it. For in due season you shall reap. Man, my grandma used to love that. That was in her top 5. You're gonna reap what you sow. You're gonna reap what you sow. Constantly. All right, let's bring it home, family. Compromising your values leads to lasting success. Is this true or is this false? Compromising your values leads to lasting success. Reap what we sow. Boy, that was her constant reminder. I'm telling you, man, if I'd kept, probably could have filled her if I just put a check mark every time she said it all throughout the day. Compromising your values leads to lasting success. Is this true? Charlotte says that's falsity, false. That is indeed falsity, false. Fam, guess what? Let me remind you, nothing you do for God is ever wasted. Nothing. And let there be nothing no one can do or say to convince you otherwise. Stand firm and listen. If God promised to reward righteousness, he's not going to break his word. He is not going to break his word. He's going to come through. Just remember. Just go remembrance. Remember our steps. Don't quit. Don't compromise. Don't allow the world to make you believe that living right doesn't matter. Because one thing's for sure, God always repays what is due, and your reward is coming. And remember, you don't walk this journey alone. God is with you. All right, family. Proverbs 10:16, the reward for doing good is life. You guys remember when we covered that? And Nikki said, let me take you back for a reminder. Proverbs 10:16. Yes, indeed. As we made our way through another beautiful, exciting week filled with God's wisdom. All right, family, got to prepare to jump out of here. I pray that you have a wonderful day. I pray that God keeps each and every one of us. May your blessings overflow. As we learn this week, what are some of the things that we learned throughout this week? The secret to overflow, right? Integrity. So we have plenty to keep us busy. In the meantime, in between time, until we meet back here again, God willing, at 5:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday. But you never know. Just make sure you have that little notification bell checked. I'm telling you, the Spirit had me up late. Working on some things, studying out some things. Man, the moments that I had, actually, I need to get with Florence and be like, Florence, if you ever, man, I need to talk with Florence about these. You know, it's that kind of thing to make you sad. But ain't nobody else talking about it. He said, I don't care if ain't nobody else talking about it. I just gave this to you. But ain't nobody. Well, I tell you, I was wrestling with him last night like Jacob. Woke up with a little bit of a limp this morning. I ain't gonna even lie to y'all. I said, you want me to talk about what? I said, what? Man. He's like, don't make me break you again. So I just limped myself on in there, grabbed my hat, brushed my teeth. Was like, fine. All right, family. Until next time, walk good, do good, be good. Tornado, I'm out of here. I love y'all. I truly, truly do. All right. Oh, and as my friends in Greece always say, me gone.
Wake up to the sunrise glow. First light reflections, here we go. Torah uses God's wisdom to guide us every day. Self-discovery on the way. Reflect, reset, be your best. Join the quiz, it's not a test. Feel the